back to the Heroes Global Championship, where Team 8 are now 1 game away from defeating Gale Esports. One thing we haven't talked about too much yet is how important this match is because these two teams are tied in the standings.
Yeah, it's going to really determine, you know, it could determine, I guess, who is going to be going to the first clash that we have. So it's very important to be able to get that because, again, it comes down to not only what your record is, but then it comes down to how many games and how efficient you were with your victories, but then also who you ended up beating. So it could be enough to be able to turn the tide there, depending on how, you know, this matchup goes and then also how well Freedom does in the future. There's a couple people up for that 3rd place and even 2nd.
Yeah, exactly. Tempo Storm, not the clear number 1, definitely going for sure, but in beating Team 8, they're well on their way, right? The next big matchup that we would say for them is Gale Esports, which we'll see next weekend. But knowing that the top 3 teams from each region, Europe and North America, are the ones who get to go to the Western Clash, it really, because each team only plays each other once, matters who beat whom for this first clash.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, Tempo Storm isn't a absolute is going. They do have the opportunity, but they have to have a terrible, you know, pretty much almost lose every series moving forward. So yeah, it's going to be, it's tough, and it's very important for these teams to be able to win. And Gale Force has to feel a little bit shook. You know, they lost on home territory. They ended up losing that last game after having a pretty convincing win. And in my opinion, just out-drafting their opponents. Just one huge team fight, misplay. They didn't have enough resources to be able to deal with, you know, the taunt combo coming in, only having that 1 cleanse, and it cost them the game.
On another place that feels like home territory.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're going next for game number 4. Likely it's a Team 8 pick, as Gale Esports will want to have first pick, but they could change things up here knowing that they need both victories from here on out. Nope, going to choose first pick. Teammates taking us to Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Tomb of the Spider Queen. Not a map that I look at Team 8 as a overly dominant onto this map. We might see Glorong play Greymane again, I'm guessing, just because it is one of the few heroes that he is very successful. It might be a Medivh too, but overall, you know, the Illidan's, maybe Kerrigan has a spot on Tomb. But that's a risky stretch. Risky stretch.
What about some Kerrigan Arthas? You remember those days?
I do. Double in Venom, level 4, can't lose any trade, most hard CC. It was just, you know, they were dark days for those who remember the original Haunted Mines.
You're like, yes, I do remember those days. A little too closely. Variant God.
That tweet is too good. All right, so Malfurion is the ban. Teammate, I'm guessing this is a TAS, or they might let both of them through. TAS and Ragnaros being the both I am referring to. TAS is insanely valuable when it comes to this map, though. The wave clear control can lead to denying the turn-ins. It's just TAS is objectively powerful, but Tomb is home turf. They ban out Morales. I think I would rather Tassadar here above the Ragnaros. I would be willing to, on this map, I think I would like to be able to pick that up. And Gale Force feels the same, so Teammate.
I wonder if they left TAS up so that Teammate could get Vala here, if they want to separate that combo. Because now you have to be scared of that, TAS Vala together. But no, Gul'dan Ragnaros instead. So maybe it was just that they want to make sure that they get everything that they want, so they're willing to concede Tassadar to get it.
Why do you ban Medic? That's the thing that stands out to me, because at first it's like...
Didn't somebody play Medic on Tomb? Was it Gale
Well,
Force?
it's kind of, I mean, yeah, but it's only with those heroes that it pairs with. The reason it's confusing is because you ban Malfurion, objectively the strongest support in the game, then you ban Medic, which shows you're afraid of your opponents having a good Gul'dan composition. So they first pick Tassadar, and then you proceed to pick Gul'dan yourself, leaving only Ariel left. But if that is actually a fear, then Gale Force has the opportunity to be able to ban that in the next rotation since you went with the Ragnaros. So I'm not saying what Teammate is doing wrong. It doesn't make sense to me, considering that if that is... It was almost a throwaway ban. It's going to have no influence, or little influence, unless they were afraid of Tassadar, Morales, Jin or something, or Vala. That was the trio they were worried about. Either way, this is...
Well, if they were, Gale Force still got 2 of it. TAS Vala together. And Rhaegar.
And then they're going to ban Ariel. They are 100% banning Ariel. The fact they picked Rhaegar that high means there is no hesitation. Gale Force Esports will ban Ariel.
punishing Team 8 for that second support ban. It wasn't Gale Force, by the way, who ran Morales here on Tomb. Oh, you know who it was? It was whoever did Stim Drone Freedom. It was Stim Drone and Odin on Tomb.
That is true, and this ban is about 12 seconds too late. The fact that they're even hesitating after picking Rhaegar in that rotation is very surprising to me.
There she is.
Crippling. If they ban out Ariel, Rhaegar's been picked up. It puts them onto Karzim or Brightwing or Uther. None of those accent the map. Some don't even accent the meta at this point. You know, Uther's made his showings
Brief showing.
here and there.
Very brief.
But in the end, this is very interesting to see this ban. And I'm glad that Gale Force was there to be able to punish, too, you know, putting teammate in this scenario. And Johanna was banned out, so no counter wave clear response, but teammate not going to have anything past the Gul'dan themselves. They have Ragnaros, too.
So Rag will probably be the solo laner. Who helps Gul'dan?
I mean, they made Zarya now that they have no support. That's like a traditional support.
Although, that's weird for hero pools. Not unknown. I think Prismaticism has played Zarya before too. Yeah, so it would be Glau then on Ragnaros. Who's Justin gonna play? Is this finally Diablo? Do we finally get Justin? Diablo, do it, do it, do it.
I think he's gonna Diablo. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. We gotta wait. The Karzim is gonna be the support choice. I think it will be the Diablo, but Gale Force has the opportunity to deny here. They can take the Diablo themselves with Johanna out of the mix, and nobody's even looked towards the solo outside of obviously Ragnaros on the side of teammates. So Gale Force, I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. I really think Dahaka is an insanely dominant solo, and I really hope that they choose that as their solo laner because he's made it through this draft. It's not even his best map, so I can see maybe pulling a little bit away, but because he won't get value out of his burrow so much. But either way, they need to get a solo laner that can deal with Ragnaros.
If they went ETC Dahaka, then Equinox would play Dahaka, Crone could play ETC, or Diablo Dahaka.
I think, yeah, either one are an option. I feel like they're not going to. I feel like we're going to see Artanis, though, and I'm going to die a little bit on the inside. Anything but Artanis, Gale Force, please. Not like this.
2, 1.
Not like this. All right, I'll take Tyrael. He will lose the solo lane, though, pretty significantly. And Vala is the only backliner, so they just put a lot of coins into the I'm going to have a mosh pit that's Sanctification, and it has enough targets on my opponent's side of the map that they can make big plays. This is, if you were to write a Wikipedia on weird things and how to draft, this whole thing that we just witnessed right here, that has a lot of do's and don'ts, I think, across the board. We went down the rabbit hole a little bit with this one.
The support was the strangest to me.
Yeah, okay, so teammate obviously opened up with a weird one with the Morales ban and then picking the Gul'dan. It wasn't that weird when it was just Morales. It was just when they moved opening with the Gul'dan. Then you're like, I don't know about this one. But then, then we didn't stop there when looking at this. And then we go with moving into the double warrior, but only having the solo backline. We do have reasonable wave clear, but the solo is going to lose in the long run, even though your opponent's picked a very prominent solo laner very early on. And then the Karzim choke comes into play, then solo Varian. So again, focusing on that kill potential that they absolutely love to have on the side of Team 8, but they don't pick a lot of kill potential in the lanes themselves.
Varian also, it will be far less effective without Malfurion to back up.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the backup now? There's not even a totem from Rhaegar.
There's not even a follow-up. Yeah,
no.
There's zero follow-up.
Hope that the grenade goes to the other side of them and it pulls them further.
Yeah, that's about it. That is really going to hurt because Varian very much, he is very powerful, but he also not until 10. And pre-10, if you have anybody to follow up, it makes things so much more not only forgiving, but there's threatening too. So this is weird, is how I'm going to put that one. It's just a lot of weird and unique approaches, I guess, overall to the draft here for Team 8.
Well, let's go into Tomb of Spider Queen and see how it pays off for them if they can bring it home versus Gale Force.
What does it provide for them? Gul'dan is going to have a couple of easy stacks there with the target that's hit. Gale Force has very little damage. Again, they are putting so much on the fact that they are going to have a successful Sanctification.
Along with Mosh.
Yeah, with Mosh Pit. But Vala being the only damage output is, I think, something that could really come back to bite Gale Force Esports with their draft. But Team 8 has a very good solo. The bottom lane should look very, very good. They can stop a little bit of the bleeding with Ragnaros with Molten Core as well.
Yeah, that's what I think it might be. Having Ragnaros to slow the game down until Gul'dan gets into the late game and scales up quite hard with his poison here on Tomb. It is a good map to do that on.
Yeah, and it only is going to be accented purely on just the consistent and absurd amount of damage that Gul'dan with Echo Corruption can put out as the game moves on. As long as a kill is not confirmed through that Sanctification play, Gul'dan will suddenly have a heyday in the amount of plays that he can really make onto the map and the insane amount of damage that he will be putting out.
It's funny, we kind of see a swap between the two. Gale Force is the one now relying on something perfect to happen in team fight, whereas Team 8 are the ones who are like just playing to how the meta goes, at least on the map.
See, I normally would agree, but there's only one thing that kind of tells me otherwise. When it comes to the solo, you're very, 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 very correct. The only thing that makes me question otherwise is that Gul'dan in the 4-man is a very focus on the map, but the fact that we keep seeing this variant and
yeah.
then no follow-up makes me feel like they're putting less focus. Because look, they're getting out wave cleared by GFE, and they don't even, GFE has 2 people on the bottom. And it's just purely on the fact that Gul'dan and Tychus are really the only wave clear on top, the Warrior not being able to commit any on its own. So it is definitely Gale Force leaning more towards that. Look at our team fight. Hopefully the team fight's going to work out. And Team 8 is considering far more on the map than I feel like they have in their recent games.
I think more, though, the variant is just because that's what Justing's been playing.
Yeah, it very much is. Glowing their full combo coming up from Gale Force, Crone with the setup, everybody else with the follow-up. He ends up going down. 12 gems here turned in for Gale Force Esports, 12 more available. But again, we are always waiting for when you see Variant, he's just throwing his Q until he gets 4. He's like,
4, team.
Here's a couple of stacks, here's a couple of stacks. There's very few heroes that want that level 4 as much as him. Like, Malf has it kind of rough where you're like, oh, I feel so much better with Olin's Grace, but it's not nearly as drastic as having that cooldown and just a raw stun on a point-and-click ability there like his E.
Looking at the rest of the talents, Purge Evil is a choice for Tyrael to lend more damage. Fanaticism goes down. Lend more damage to a team that, as we've discussed before, is damage light. Herodric Reforging from Equinox. Having Eldrin's Might up more often will be key, as later on for Holy Grounds, zoning people away, as well as having Holy Ground for boss control when that starts to come into play too.
We see these rotations happening just between the mid and top. The 2v2 on the bottom continues. I don't know why teammates matching Gale Force on bottom, to be honest. I get why Gale Force had to, because just Tyrael can't into Prismaticism on Ragnarok. So you just can't. Oh, there's a stun. Is it enough to be able to confirm the kill? Shield's already been used. Justing ate a lot of harass. Gaura made the transition too.
No kill just yet for Team 8. Blue Web Weavers have started to descend. Remember, Team 8 do have Ragnaros, although Glaurung is in a little bit of danger. We can turn around and throw out his Empower Sulfuras to heal back up. This looks to be the siege point for Gale Force, and it might be as simple as them trying to force Glaurung to use Molten Core somewhere, and then they can make a quick rotation somewhere else and get a stronger push there. So it's important to see where Glaurung ends up using Molten Core to defend here.
Yeah, to be able to buy that time for the team. Yoda getting the harass there to Mikey Doll. This has been a surprisingly active, but seemingly almost overly passive game on Tomb 2. It's very weird. It's like we've seen like action, but nobody's like dying, and the rotations aren't as 5. They're always like 2 to 3-man transitions, right? To where things are happening, but not maybe to the extent that they would. Like suddenly the kills, like huge momentum swing. 3 people end up dying because the 4-man clash towards mid. It's just maybe a pick here, maybe a pick there, and you know, is Team 8 going to be able to keep up with these early rotations that Gale Force has produced?
We saw Gale Force do exactly that. Molten Core comes out in the mid, they move up to the top, but not quite able to take out the towers there since Prismaticism was holding up in the top lane, and Team 8 played that out very well. Yes, they lost some towers, but as we saw in, I think, an Eventic game, you can get a lot off of that first turn in. You can get pretty much up to 10, and then your opponents can't turn in, whereas Team 8 are only about a level behind at this point.
Yeah, it's a really good job that Team 8 has, you know, kind of crisis management here when it comes to the turn-in so far, when it comes to the experience. Prismatis is now going to be joining the squad as it is a full 5vs5. Actually, no Karazim there, which is going to be able to net a kill. Beautiful body blocks from Gale Force Esports on Glorum. He throws out the Q to get the healing, but it is not enough. Will Equinox survive? Buds burn both his dashes for that. Now he's going to straight get turned on there by the Tyrael.
Oh my.
And it is Gale Force Esports just ripping through teammates' health bars right now.
Little too over-aggressive from Team 8, desperate to get a kill after Prismaticism went down on that Gul'dan. But they have to realize that yes, they are a little bit behind, but they defended quite well versus the Webweaver phase. So they just need to make sure that they're not losing gems at this point. That's a really important point. Yes, even if Gale Force Esports gets a second turn in, they have good defense tools to get through it.
Yeah, the defensive tools are going to be a must now as the 10 is closing in here for GFE. And another Webweaver is going to step its way on over to teammates' side of the map. They are starting the Knights, and Gale Force knows this. Not purely on the Oracle. For those who don't know, whenever you capture the map objective, if the symbol is still showing on the mini-map in the bottom right, it means your opponent has toggled it or aggroed it, and it will stay there until de-aggroed or until it is killed. But Gale Force decided they were not going to force that advantage. Instead, when I consider macro elsewhere, they're transitioning here towards mid. I don't believe multi-core has come off cooldown quite yet, but it should be soon. Yeah, never mind, I was wrong. It is in fact off cooldown, and we see it used here. And
immediately, Gale Force Esports rotate down to the bottom lane. Prismaticism has been put in a very difficult spot. Equinox is on the chase, doesn't dismount with his...
He's got this. Look at him, so epically
charging. What are you gonna do?
All right, yep, no.
He's gone.
Prismat's gonna be going down.
Yeah! Actually,
you
can heal it quite a lot. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't break it. He could have just walked away and followed to the Q. He's out of mana.
He doesn't have any mana.
There's a tap.
Oh, feels bad, man.
Yeah, it bought a lot of time, though. They ended up losing the bottom fort there for Team 8. 10 still not going to be in control. Top and mid fort, though, sitting very low in HP. A very quick and easy cleanup for GFE. I expect them to try and abuse their 10 to be able to confirm those, since the turn-in is just not within reach for a long while. And it's not like Team 8's going to be posturing for that. But instead, they let Team 8 be able to catch up to the 10 here. And now it's their moment. Will Team 8 be able to use this small window to be able to confirm and turn in, try and snowball the game against their opponents?
Buds has chosen Divine Palm again. Here comes the mosh pit, though. Sanctification on top of it. Sulfurous Smash doesn't do anything because it's right on top of Sanctification. One kill, a second kill, almost imminent. There's Divine Palm, but it won't get procced. Nice play from Gale Force Esports. Staying... being able to make sure that they don't proc that.
Long is going to be going down. Not Holy Ground, but Equinox has his Q. Ancestral lands perfectly from Octopace there as well.
Patience is the word I was looking for there.
They're just... Gale Force is turning things up right now, and Teammate doesn't have the answer here into the draft whatsoever. The Palm not proccing only made things a little bit worse. Granted, it's a lose-lose situation there if you are going to be the Karazim. 13 talents here. All 3 forts are going to fall. Every time I say that, Gale Force proceeds to show up to a fort and just walk away. They have a talent tier advantage. It's one shot, and they're like, "Why? We're not going to cycle our spells. Screw it." A stun going on to Octopace. Good peel from Crowan, though. Equinox is there. He's going to receive the taunt. Tassadar is nowhere to be found. Gloron there into the back is trying to find a way to put out damage. There goes the Sulfurous Smash. He's still going to be alive. Strafe comes in. Oh my goodness, teammate has to be very, very careful here as they fall very low in the HP. They still have 52 gems, 48 on the side of GFE.
Buzz has all of these gems. If he gets stopped here, he got delayed again. This is so frustrating for teammate. They have lost a ton of gems, by the way. They're down to just 50 at this point. Justin has Divine Palm, but again, Gale Force Esports don't fall for it at all. Get another kill, and Team 8 once again has their plans thwarted to turn in.
Yeah, Palm's such a weird supporting spell in the sense that it works well when in combat directly, but it doesn't ever on retreat because it's just so easy to be able to identify the audio. In the middle of a battle, though, it's a lot easier to make the mistake of being able to get the proc, but very good self-restraint almost there coming out from GFE. Slowly decided to be able to crow and walk up there, confirm this. They have enough for a turn-in. I expect them to force it here as they complete the turn-in down below.
This is looking a lot like Battlefield of Eternity.
It sure is.
10 kills to nothing, no forts down for Gale Force, but they started Braxis that way, and look how that turned out. So they need to stay vigilant.
That's true. They do have a horrified taunt kind of concept, if you will, much like they did on the opposite, or on, on Braxis holdout. So, yeah, it's just, we saw Gale Force execute their last initiation to a team fight almost flawlessly, hitting 2 targets with a follow-up synced a matter of, fraction of a second directly behind there for Equinox. So we'll see if they manage to do it again. If a front wall drops, I honestly expect GFE to just force. Even if they don't confirm a kill with Sanctification Mosh Pit, they'll buy so much time because bottom and mid are kind of prepped and they see the response with Gul'dan on bottom. But at the same time, I guess they are going to be fearful of Molten Core. Goran's probably going to be using that soon, but I really like the idea of just buying time during this phase because these Web Weavers aren't strong on their own. They don't do a lot of damage, and they're actually pretty easy to clear at this point into the game. The scariest thing is going to be Gale Force, but if you keep them busy in the mid lane, be able to buy that time, suddenly those Web Weavers in the end will do a reasonable amount of damage as top has been left alone for a while.
Odin's done now, so that's one cooldown that's been used defensively that Gale Force don't have to worry about. Horrify is still a factor, as is Molten Core. Both of those are scary when you're trying to CJ, and here comes the first of them. Molten Core is used just as the Web Weaver went down. Tychus is still in the top clearing, but the rest of teammate are trying to get kills off of this. We saw the swing go out, no kills just yet. 16 to 12 in experience.
Yeah, that means Gale Force Esports now can just man mode this keep. Like, they do not even have to back away. There's not enough tools. 13 talents here hasn't even been picked up. There they go, the combo, Sanctification. They're going to look for the one-shot onto one. Great Horrify, though. Justin is still yet to go down, even with all the heroics used on the opponent's side, except for Ancestral here. The responsive taunt, Ancestral ends up landing, and they confirm the kill there on Teferian. So Gale Force Esports once again pulling ahead, but I can't help but feel like that wasn't a 4-level lead with 16 talents here. That fight might have gone in favor of Team 8.
Justin stayed up in front doing his job until the very end. Fan is almost out on mana, as is Equinox, but Gale Force Esports are not leaving without this keep. They'll take it down. If they lose anybody in the process, Glaurung trying to get a kill for his team. Instead, has to get Palm, but will stay alive.
Every time Palm is used on retreat, it's either not going to get the value, or it's going to be just easily pulled away. I understand the use. We've seen 3 uses of it so far, but not a single one actually into the skirmish itself while the teams are going blow for blow with one another, only as they're barely walking away, hoping a spell is going to be able to land. And that's something, with the youth up buds on this role, hopefully he'll be able to learn up on a 4, but for now, it's just, he hasn't been in, granted, he's been in, it's a terrible game to be able to try and make that happen because they are so far behind.
Yeah.
But it still is, I would like to see, at least in the next fight, try and use the Palm as the targets are going to be dying, not walking away and dying.
Did he have it when Justin died?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
so, like,
Yoda's
right now?
a bad spot. Doesn't have it yet. 13 seconds. No Palm available. This just might be the end of Team 8 in this game. Prismaticism caught by lots of Gale Force Esports. And Justin will do the same. 3 kills. Glaurung will likely make it a 4th. He's going to try to buy as much time for his team as he can. The respawn timers are still fairly low for Team 8.
He's just, all he can hear right now is like, hello darkness, my old friend, when he's just walking away. He knows his fate. He's just, the question is, does Gale Force be merciful and quick with it, or if they are going to buy their time? Gale Force is now moving their way up to the boss. There are enough gems available on the side of Team 8 to be able to confirm a turn-in, but in fact, Tyrael is sitting down below to make sure that that does not happen. And having Heroic Reforging only makes it even more difficult to be able to get a turn-in. His poke at level 4 becomes insane. It's only like a 1-second cooldown if it's a full-time bot on the Tyrael reactivation to the queue. I guess that's really hard to explain, but it's an awesome talent, and it comes into play when goaltending.
Gale Force are fine with not even going for the boss because they're very close to having another turn-in, and it's bottom lane that has a keep down already. So instead, they're just trying to get that turn-in as fast as they can. But meanwhile, Equinox did get taunted into Sulfure's Smash. He gets away with his Elduran's Might. And a turn-in was snagged by Team 8. Finally, a little reprieve.
All this is going to do, though, is really just hope Team 8 gets the 16. That's all they're looking for. They can't push with these Web Weavers. It's a complete waste. It's purely just based on, do we buy enough time to get enough soak to where when Gale Force tries to turn in again, we at least manage to be on the same talents here. And as these mini waves actually push out, it's going to be pretty easy for Gale Force to be able to clean it up. this is a really minor thing because the raw control, obviously 15-0. But let's just crazy theory crafting Dread for a moment.
Okay.
It's more valuable for Gale Force Esports to not touch a single web weaver this entire time, let it push all the way out, ensure they get 20 tier advantage while all the minion waves are pushing into them, and then be willing to take the fight 20 into 16, then fast clear them and take that fight 19 into 15. I know it's crazy, little weird to let your opponent actually get value out of the map objective when you have the upper hand. But it is something they could have considered. I guess it is a little bit difficult with not a single fort down. You know, it's a bunch of first world problems here for GFE.
Yeah, GFE still...
I'm just trying to think of a min-max, you know, how can they make this even better?
But they're still 4 levels ahead. Teammate, we're so scared to do anything with the web weavers. They only need... There's only like 6 more that Gale Force needed to get a turn in. I think it's going to be easier for them to get 20, and this way at least the... Lanes are still primed?
That is true. I expected them to actually... the reason I wanted the 20 was so you can force the boss as the turn-in, so then it's like just a double lose and your opponent can't take that into the 20.
Okay.
But again, that was like not like I think this is the best. It was more of just like... I mean, the kills are 15-0, so let's try and think of something here. Because there are moments on this map, although it's very rare, where it's actually better to let your opponent's web weaver push. That one is not one I've been able to test, sadly. 20 is going to be picked up in about half a second. Druin's going to be thrown down. Molten Core is going to be able to consume this.
This is Molten Core going down before Gale Force has 20. Gale Force is going to get that very soon and might be in a spot to stop Glowering as he comes out of Molten Core. That wasn't the case. Justin was diligently watching for that. Kron jumping in again. There is Mosh Pit. Just the tip of it has a hold of Ragnaros. But it gets stopped, and now teammate, no, it's time to fight. 20 has been picked up for Gale Force. They may just turn this around, but at least there's no Mosh Pit.
Yeah, and there's going to be Sanctification. Prismaticism is now on full retreat. Smite's going to be dropped. Palm is going to be used. Equinox, in fact, is not going to make sure that gets procced. The Keep is going to be dying here in the mid. The Holy Ground with the Bolt.
No.
Is stuck in the corner here. And he, in fact, is going to die. Huge shout out to Akaface, though, in the middle of that fight. That cleanse on the Horrify for ETC's Mosh Pit was the sole reason Sanctification was not needed to be used. So very well done for him in this game. But it looks like Gale Force Esports, in fact, is going to be merciful. And they are going to take this game 16-0, even up the series, and send us game number 5.
Van strafing to his heart's content in the back of the core. 17 kills to 0, a 4-level lead. Another perfect victory for Gale Force Esports.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to carry that on to, you know, the next match, as it's surprising to see how back and forth, but not back and forth the series is.
Yeah, there's stomps on either side.
Yeah, and a lot. I think I would say, again, I do think that the Braxis map should have gone the same. It was just one major mistake on the side of Gale Force Esports. Gave enough because, again, it was where the fight happened, where the timing of the fight happened is why suddenly it was like, it wasn't just like, oh, they're coming back. It was like, oh my goodness, they have a 2-level advantage over us. This suddenly has gotten really ugly. So if Gale Force can clean that up in game number 5, I expect them to take it. They look like the more polished team to me here, especially when it comes to the drafting, but teammates always got that opportunity when it comes to the crazy fighting.
Well, we will see who will win game number 5 right after this break. We'll see you soon.
Are you ready for victory?